What's up, everybody? Sarah Wellman here. Quick intro, and then I want to get right into this interview. This is a conversation that I had with Jeremy Wolf, former minor leaguer himself, and now also running the organization More Than Baseball. This is a nonprofit whose goal is to make life better for minor league baseball players. And why is that important? Well, over the last several months, you've probably heard myself and Kyle Reese, among others at Birds on the Black and beyond, talking a lot about this issue, because the fact is that minor league baseball players are a commodity for major league teams, but they're underrepresented, they're under-resourced, they're underpaid, and quite honestly, it's a challenge for them to do their job because of the circumstances of their lives. Well, Jeremy and the guys at More Than Baseball are tackling that in a really interesting way, and as we start on this journey of maybe bringing to light some of these issues and how they could potentially be resolved, I want you to hear this side of the story, because their approach is different, and it's important in the way that it's different. So I'm very excited to introduce you, or perhaps reintroduce you, to More Than Baseball and the work that they're doing, starting with this interview with Jeremy Wolf. So Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me today. This conversation about life in the minor leagues is obviously something that's very personal to you, having lived it, and now sort of being on the flip side of that, trying to do something about it, trying to help those who are living it right now. So let's jump right into that, starting with your experience. What was it like for you, life in the minor leagues, and what about that led you to where you are now with More Than Baseball?
Sure. So I played Division III baseball at Trinity University. I was drafted in the 31st round. I signed for like a gift card to Chipotle, right? It wasn't anything. But that was fine. You know, we had the opportunity to go play professional baseball for the team that I always wanted to play for. It was really a dream come true. And so I like to preface all of my conversations about minor league baseball with, it was a privilege to play professional baseball. Okay. That being said, there are a lot of problems that I found in it when I was playing, right? Players are being treated like commodities. Players are being treated less than they should be. You know, we had to pay for our own equipment, pay for our own housing, pay for our own food for the most part if there wasn't enough for us in the locker room. So there were a lot of things that I saw when I was playing that I know can be fixed with a group of people who want to help fix it. So that all being said, I know that, you know, Major League Baseball is not going to spend the money where they don't need to and they don't have to, and they're legally exempt from doing so. So I figured, okay, so Major League Baseball is not going to change. To get players paid more, we could go to the Supreme Court and ask them to overturn the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. Okay, so that is not going to happen either. We can get the union to jump on board, help form a union for minor league baseball players, and everything will be perfect, but their resources stay with the major leaguers, and that's fine. Those players on the 40-man roster have earned the right to do that. So I figured the next best thing would be to build a nonprofit, and the nonprofit would be able to facilitate the things that a majority of players need. So from our research, we found that a majority of players sign for less than $100,000. Okay, and on average, they play 4.5 years. So we figure that, you know, all of these players are going to need help and assistance at some point. I needed assistance, you know, the first day. They're like, you know, we give you 6 bats, but here's, you know, 3.5 months of the season. And so
Good
I went to
luck.
the clubby and I was like, hey, I need 6 more bats. And they're like, okay, go ahead. We don't do that for you. And I was like, okay, like it's as part of the journey. I get that. But I played in front of however thousands of people a night and went to bed hungry at some nights because there wasn't enough food for us, or, you know, and I figured that instead of being combative, instead of screaming from the rooftops and saying, pay us more, give us what we need, I am now, and we're trying to find groups of people, companies and individuals and former and current players and reporters and whoever who want to tell the story because it's the right thing to do.
I think that's so interesting. That's such an interesting part of this to me, because you hear a lot of the conversations, you hear a lot of the debates, right? Everyone has a blazing hot take about this issue, whether they lived it or not. My experience in working with minor league teams from a media perspective gives me just a tiny little glimpse of what it is that the challenges are. So I think you hear these opinions that maybe don't aren't always based in the reality of what it's like, but they also come from the perspective of, as you mentioned, this is a dream, right?
Yeah.
This is people who are getting to live out their dream. Why is that not enough? Right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
how do you answer that question? Because I feel like that is something that a lot of people, that's the approach a lot of people are going to take.
Yeah. What I say to that is there are a lot of people there are a lot of people who are making money off of the players, whether it's the major league team, whether it's the minor league team, whether it's the hotels that house them or the housing, the apartments that have to house them. Um, there's enough money to go around from either the minor league team or the major league team that this doesn't have to be an issue. And the only reason it is an issue is because the employer, the major league team, does not want to um, pay them more or a livable wage and does not have to. Okay, so we're fighting with the argument of they don't have to pay them, but the way they're living is still poor. Okay, so I played in 2017. I was in spring training, which is March, which is unpaid, and now in Arizona they're trying to make it statewide for minor leaguers. It remains unpaid. And then I played extended spring training, so I didn't make a full season team. And so I'm sure viewers will know what that is. Like I had to explain to my mom what extended spring training was. Um, so I played in March unpaid, April unpaid, May unpaid, half of June unpaid. Because I didn't make a full season team, I was not paid for my 7 months of work. I was paid for only the games I played in or on the roster for. Um, so I worked 6 days a week. We worked 70 hours a week for no money. So they gave us 3 meals a day. They gave us food for 3 meals. And they gave us housing. Um, there are so many things. Oh, and we had to buy our own equipment as part of that. That's an extended. And then we got to the field and in Brooklyn and had to pay a certain amount for housing. And we didn't get travel taken care of. We had to buy taxis and subways to get to the field and all that stuff because you couldn't have a car there. Um, that being said, there are issues that come from that and that treatment where players are focusing more on where is my next meal going to come
Yeah.
from? How can I pay for this stuff that I need? Oh, I have to pay the clubhouse kid $110 for just washing my cleats when I can do it myself. Oh, I have to pay the guy to clean my jersey. I don't have enough money for this. And then the big leaguer comes down and instead of helping us with our clubhouse dues or helping pay our salaries just a little bit more as a treat, he gets us Olive Garden for the night, which is a nice gesture. I'm sure big leaguers do it in every single organization when they come down for rehab. But we were like, Olive Garden's cool, but I still got to pay Jimmy Lipper and the clubhouse attendant $100 a month to clean my uniform. And so part of what we're doing now is we're allowing major leaguers and current and former players the opportunity to help support minor leaguers in that way to help mitigate the stresses of playing minor league baseball. So we're not arguing for the fair wage that they obviously deserve. We're obviously working an immense amount of hours. We're laborers who have a really specific skill, but because we don't have to get paid, we're not going to. Okay, so that argument is dead. We fight that argument saying, well, I'm trying to get my friends back. I'm trying to get my friends gloves. I'm trying to get my friends cleats. I don't want my buddy to sleep on an air mattress in a kitchen with an apartment with 8 people anymore. So we're doing what we can to build opportunities and a stress-free environment of playing minor league baseball. In the off season, we want to help employ the players. We want to help teach them. We want to help build their skills because the majority of them are done playing at the age of 27. So they're going to be 27 with nothing on their resume
Right.
except for they got to Double A. It was a dream come true. He played in Double A, but then he's doing an entry-level job at 27.
Yeah.
Can we, using his platform, teach him how to be a good marketer? Can we give him a job at Gold's Gym so that he doesn't have to pay for a gym membership and can still train and get a valuable skill of having a job. So there are so many loose ends to playing minor league baseball where 95% of minor leaguers will never make it to the big leagues. And can we be that system of support to help minor leaguers when they're playing, to mitigate stress, to mitigate finances, hopefully, and then, help them after their career?
Yeah, I think I'm fascinated by this approach because it's something that can happen now, right? It's not this long-term, let's change this for the future. It's okay, what can we do that's going to make a difference for some of these players now? A couple of questions. As far as that goes, what's been the response of people that you've talked to as far as companies getting involved, people who are in these communities where there are minor league teams? What's been the response so far? I mean, you guys had that article in Forbes the other day. People are hearing about it. They're starting to see some of this out there. What's the reaction been like so far?
So from fans, it's, I didn't know it was so bad. I'm going to do what I can to help the players in my community. So we have a woman who is a season ticket holder of the Sacramento River Cats, which is AAA for the Giants, I believe. And she's like, I didn't know it was so bad. I can help all of these players. We can try to, get them dinner and coupons on discounts and whatever. And there are so many minor league players that we have to allow, we can't do it all ourselves. So we have to find people in each town who are willing to head that on for us. We would love them to put on an event with the Sacramento River Cats, and all of the money raised goes to More Than Baseball, right? Sometimes that'll happen, sometimes that won't, but we have seen a lot of support from fans who are like, I didn't know it was so bad. I love minor league baseball, and I want to help the players. When we started this, fans used to say, they're living a dream, and if they get paid more, my ticket prices are going to go up. So I'll go support by going to the games. And I'm like, that money doesn't go to the players. So you can go support all you want, but there are things that you can do outside of it, outside of going to games, that can help them.
Yeah.
From companies have come to us, and we've gone to them and saying, we have potentially 6,000 minor league players who will use your product, who will put it on social media, who will promote it, who will wear it, who will eat it, who will do whatever. And those kids, all we ask in return is a discount, and if you can sponsor them and employ them. And so the partners that we have currently, South 40 Snacks is a sunflower seed company. And so they're going to give their sunflower seed bags at a discount. I know some fields you get Davids for free in a bucket, right? But we never did. And so I love playing with sunflower seeds. And so I wish I had the opportunity to have either some bags be sent to me and I'll post a picture and great. Or I can buy 10 bags for the clubhouse and for $25 or whatever it might be. We have Grain for Grain, which is, I'm in San Antonio right now and they started here. Grain for Grain is a pancake mix company. So what Grain for Grain does is they take used barley from the local beer companies, they mix it up together, and they turn it into pancake mix. Well, they're giving their boxes for $3. $3 boxes are going to go to feeding these players in the mornings because only 2 meals a day are stipulated in every contract, right? So each box is about 60 pancakes. So if the kid wants to wake up and we get him a hot plate, he can wake up. All you do is mix water and you make the pancakes. And how we can send them syrup too. So we're trying to feed and house and equip players with companies who are willing to help. So Birdman Bats has jumped on board, and they're giving 6 bats for about $65 to $70 each. Normally bats are $90 to $100 each. And so we're just trying to mitigate the necessities and the cost of doing that and the stresses that come with it. There were times where I was playing where like, I'm not going to slide because I don't want to rip my cleats. And if I rip my cleats, I'm going to have to go pay more. Or I'm not going to swing at an inside pitch. I don't have a bat. Or I'm not going to wear my batting gloves right now because this is my last pair. And I'm going to have to trade with, Joey, who has an agent. I'm going to have to trade him a pair of shorts to get another. So the minor leaguers know how hard it can be. We want to make it easier for them.
Have you had reactions from players, guys who are hearing about this or seeing it? I know you have, current and former players who are involved in this process with you guys. What are they saying about it?
So we, the players that I speak to, and I've got about 60 former teammates in my phone, and I talk to them regularly, and I say, look, you will stay anonymous unless you are okay with me saying your name, unless you're okay with, writers and reporters asking to speak with you. And so we have about 60 guys that we talk to regularly. Five or six of those are on our players committee where we go to them and tell them our plan and our mission, and they come back with advice of what former and current players would think. And we have a group of advisors that are more academic minded, and we have a board of directors who work in nonprofits and labor, and so we have all of our bases covered, right? Pun intended. And with the players, it's at first it was, I don't know, man. What you're doing is gonna get me fired and released, and I'm like, look, you come to the website, you find what you need, you click on it, it'll take you to Elements Nutrition, which will give you dinners, nutritious meals, right, for $7 or $7.50, whatever we have it for, $7.50, okay? Or you could eat, the crappy Jersey Mike's after games. Spend the $7.50 per meal, and those are really, really nutritious meals for you. That's all we ask, is that you come in and get what you need, whether it's bats or batting gloves or food, or closer to the off season, we'll help them try to get jobs. We're going to try to create like a hub in Dallas, in San Antonio, which I think is really cool. So we're just trying to help them, and they're going to stay anonymous. And so, yeah, players can come to us and say, finally a place where I can go for help.
I think that's such an important piece of this because for so long this has been such a taboo thing, right? You don't talk about it, you don't complain about it, you just go to work and you do your job and you don't ever bring it up, but that doesn't change anything, right? So if this is going to be a step in the right direction, it's great to have people like you and the other guys who are involved in kind of just making this a starting point, right,
Yeah.
for where this can go. And hopefully, the more people see it, the more players see that it's being well received. That'll give you not only more traction for what you're trying to do, but give them a little more peace of mind that they can do something about their situation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like players are like puppies. Okay. They really, really they want help, and they really want their lives to be easier. But if you're too loud and you're too abrasive, they're not going to come to you. Okay. That's the best analogy I can give, because if we were screaming from the rooftops, if we were screaming, build them a union, why isn't there a union? If I was going on LA Times and I was saying, this is bullshit, all of this stuff, nobody would come to us because we would be doing it the wrong way. And so I've seen what's been happening in sports. I've been seeing the shut up and dribble culture. I've been seeing what's been happening, um, against the president. And I just said enough. And myself and Slade Heathcott and our team has said enough. We can help them and be a friend to everybody involved. We can get the MLBPA on board. We can get MLB on board. We can get companies and sponsors and minor leaguers help without having to burn any bridges, without having to take sides. Because if I have this conversation and it was more aimed towards what they're not doing, what Major League Baseball is not doing, that's not going to solve the problem. So though it is, so some people might, call me and write to me and say, well, what about, soldiers in their first year are getting paid 17,000, and then their raises, their wages increase over time, and what about them, and what about this? What matters is that these players aren't getting paid at a level that is livable. And so if you're going to make $7,500 over the year, or 3,000 like I did, or 10,000 like the AAA guys are, that isn't going to stretch the entire year. So you're going to have to go live at home. And so you're not going to be able to be on a level playing field with everybody else when it comes to your performance. And so, can we ease the burden of playing minor league baseball by getting them discounts and getting them opportunities that will help them hopefully get to the major leagues? Now, 95% of players won't. So, we're trying to help the guys who won't, right? We're trying to help their jobs and their lives be easier. And so, you've been on NPR, we've been on Forbes, we're with you. We know we're in the right direction, and we have a bunch of players on board who have said, "Thank you. There's finally something that can help me." So that's why we're here.
There are plenty of injustices in the world. We can all pick one to fight for or to work towards. That doesn't make any one of them less significant than the other. So, from, like I said, the little that I've seen, the little that I know, the conversations that I have had, it's great to know that there are advocates for guys like yourself who are just trying to do the best that they can and to
Yeah.
be the best they can at their job, even when the circumstances are sort of stacked against them in some regard. Last question for you, Jeremy, before I let you go. If people want to find out more, if people want to get involved, if they're inspired by what you've said, where can
Yeah.
they go and what can they do?
They can go to morethanbaseball.org and they can read up on what we're doing, who we're helping, who we're getting help from, our mission. Everything is going to be um, transparent and open to the public. How much we're making, how much we're getting in, our financials, who we're speaking with, all of that stuff, except for the players. Right, the players are going to stay with us and anonymous because we don't want anything to happen to them. Right, more so than it already is. So they can go and they can donate. There's a donation button right up at the top. We've raised almost $2,000 already. We basically opened our gates February 1st. And so they can go in and donate and help, and they know where their money's going. So part of what we're doing is being able to, once we get to a certain point, travel and go set up events for players and teams and clinics and be able to raise money from fans in that community. We know it'll be good PR for the minor league organization. We know it'll be good PR for us. And we know that the money that we raise can go to helping these players. Right, so that's number one. Number two is at a certain point, we're going to be able to give grants and stuff for housing and equipment for players so that they don't have to keep struggling to do this, right? If their wages are still going to be super low, there's things that we can do to help them during the season. We can help feed them, right? Another part of it is going to be able to go and speak with former major leaguers, guys who made tens of millions of dollars in their career, and go and be able to talk with them, meet with them, set up an event with them, and be able to raise money for More Than Baseball and the minor league baseball community with their help. And we also want to build up baseball communities around the United States for sure and around the world. And so part of our money is going to go to building a field, right? Giving equipment, giving lessons, doing whatever we can for a low income area who really wants to play baseball, right? I'm in San Antonio right now, and there's a few communities here who really, really want a field renovation, right? And they really deserve it because they have a ton of baseball players, but they just can't afford it. Or there's a little league in East Austin that really wants minor leaguers to go out, and we can set that up for them. We can set up a clinic and bring them both out there. And I'm on the Israeli national baseball team, and so there's only one field in Israel.
Mm. Huh.
And so, can we give equipment? Can we build a little sandlot? Can we do something for the baseball community in Israel? One field. It's north of Tel Aviv. We had a camp there when I was in Tel Aviv, and there were about 150 kids who had to take the train and take taxis and Ubers from Jerusalem to get there. So there's something that we can do for communities who really want to play baseball around the world. And this is finally an outlet where we can build community, build camaraderie, build financial stability through baseball and through people who love baseball. So that's our job. So I wear this Brooklyn Dodgers hat because the Brooklyn Dodgers were the team who did the right thing and broke the color barrier, right? Can More Than Baseball do the right thing and do what is right for minor league baseball. It's a great product. It's awesome. I loved playing, but my buddy shouldn't sleep on an air mattress in the kitchen. So we're just trying to fix that.
Yeah.
And so morethanbaseball.org, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at MTB_org.
All right. Plenty still to come as this ball gets rolling, and I'm excited to see where you go with it, what we can do to help support it in the little Cardinals community that we've created as well. And hopefully we'll chat again soon when things continue to happen for you guys, for More Than Baseball, for this whole conversation about minor league baseball. So Jeremy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are plenty of arguments and debates to be had about the actual pay scale in minor league baseball, what guys are worth, and how that is determined, and how that money that we keep hearing about in the entire industry of baseball can be dispersed in a way that actually makes the product better, not just their lives, which should be the more important of the two, but you get the point. There are plenty of conversations to be had in that regard. But what I love so much about what I'm learning about More Than Baseball is that these are tangible, material, sort of digestible ways that fans or players or organizations can actively work towards making this problem better, even if it's sort of circumventing the system to do it. And I think that's a brilliantly creative way to go about this process and actually make some real change, even when maybe the root of the issue hasn't been erased as of yet. So thanks again to Jeremy for joining me to explain that. I would really suggest going to the website, finding them on social media. They're going to be telling stories. We're going to be telling stories. We're trying to shine a light on this issue in the most positive way possible, because these guys are real people. They have real struggles, and their employers maybe aren't really taking an active approach in solving those issues in the way that we would like them to, in the way that they feel like they should be. And this is a way to go about doing that anyway. So thank you to Jeremy. Thank you to More Than Baseball. Check them out. Keep it tuned to Birds on the Black. We'll have more coverage of this issue as we go throughout the season. And hopefully, if you have any questions, you can shoot them our way, and we'll get someone in the know to answer them for you as well. Thanks, as always, and we'll see you next time.